Shalom, brothers. About that time again. Thanks for tuning in to another dialogue with the Raw, the Real, the Red Pill. I'm going to name this one that she doesn't consider. The End Game. Now, first off, I'd like to say that all of this is solely my opinion that we all are entitled to. But I like to think that my opinions are grounded in the reality as I see it. So I'm just going to call it how I see it. And I think a lot of us brothers see the same thing. It's obvious. She doesn't consider. Look what's going on with the Hispanic community. They are separating children from their immigrant parents. Who considers that these are the detention centers and a beta run and a test run for the FEMA camps to come? The introspective man knows, but she doesn't consider. Considering Haiti, the earthquake, and the UN peacekeepers, the white men who are so-called helping the woman in the tent cities, giving them their essential needs. She doesn't consider that the young girls are being raped, prostituted for water, for toothpaste, for the things needed for survival. She doesn't consider that her value is only in her vagina. We consider truth from lies. We separate the two. Because knowledge is only founded in the truth, and folly in lies. Many black women go to church habitually. Even these conscious so-called sisters, which they are absolutely not. They hold tight to feminist ideologies, but follow a so-called religion that is patriarchal in nature. But yet she doesn't consider. She makes no sense. Single black motherhood is like peanut butter and jelly. To be a single black woman and to be a mother is like peanut butter and jelly. You see it often. It's actually quite ironic and new and refreshing when you see a man with a woman and children. And most of the time, this may be a trick or a simp, not even the father of the children. But she doesn't consider this. Not at all. All the issues in black society are solely the man's fault. The heterosexual man's fault. When you speak against her evil ways, and when you righteously judge her in sound logic, she accuses you of being a homosexual. But yet, as far as I can see, black women love homosexual black men because they love effeminate black men. They watch RuPaul's Drag Race. They entertain this fuckery. And 9 times out of 10, these mentally deranged black men came from single mother households. Therefore, she raised and breeds them. But then turns around and tries to insult you with the pretenses in which she breeded, but she doesn't consider. She calls herself a queen, a god, but we constantly see her online, the World Wide Web. The entire community sees it. Twerking her ass, constantly using her sexuality for the manipulation of a man, for his resources, to destroy him. But she doesn't consider. She is yet still a queen and a goddess in her eyes. Every day we see, I know I see personally, every day, multiple occasions, the black woman with natural hair, dressed conservatively, beautiful, embracing her ethnicity, holding hands with a white man, but yet they cry victim when that same race of people in whom she is swirling and giving her womb to berates her, destroys her, kills her and her children. But she doesn't consider the hypocrisy. Yet she cheers on. She cheers on the fuckery. She doesn't consider any errors of her ways. Look at Venezuela. The economic situation there. People eating out of trash cans. Women who were doctors, surgeons, lawyers, are now prostituting their ass for $5 just for rice for the day for them and their children. They were educated, but it doesn't mean anything in a base social structure. But the black woman prides herself and honestly believes that she is better than you because of her education. But in this Venezuela situation, she doesn't consider. She gains no wisdom from it. We see old, washed-up, single women who die alone, who suffer alone, who are bitter, who are angry, who hate black men. We see them. But yet the next generation, the younger generation of women carry on the same ideology of them. Pardon me. The younger generation, then the next generation carries on the same feminist ideology of them who presided them, who was before them. They don't seem to learn the lesson. Where is the happy feminist? Where is the happy woman in the Western society? But she doesn't consider. But I consider. People essentially do what makes them happy. There's a saying that the devil, Satan, Lucifer, and his minions, his demons, and his third of angels, whom we're fallen, come to kill, steal, and destroy. The black woman leads in the most abortions of her own children yearly. She has killed over 20 million since the 1980s. Does that make her a killer? But she doesn't consider. Granted, many women use the feminist judicial system to extort finances out of their spouse, but the black woman seems to habitually do it, to where it is a normalcy and a normality within the black community. If you get her pregnant, you're going to court, you're going to be put on child support. That's extortion and that's stealing, but she doesn't consider. Every predominantly black community, matriarchal in structure, which is most of them, which is the black community, by the way, is crime-ridden, ran down, impoverished, full of violence, whoredoms, and just quite frankly, is destroyed. Her communities are so destroyed that she points the finger at black men whom her aunties, her grandmas, and her mothers have raised single. But we look at the fruits of her labor, it appears to be nothing but a path of destruction. It's common knowledge that when you make that particular job that you've been yearning for, to get the fuck out of the black community, because you cannot thrive in front of other black people. They'll kick in your door while you're at work, they'll steal from you, they'll get jealous, they'll kill you. But she doesn't consider. So she kills, she steals, and she destroys. Whom is her father? What force does she emulate in her life? I think it sounds a lot like Lucifer, but she doesn't consider. There's no right or wrong in her eyes. No truth or falsehood. Only her opinion. But she doesn't consider. She doesn't consider anything that is against her rhetoric or what she believes. For everything is the fault of someone else. How much longer must we sit and watch the fall and constant denigration of the black community before she does consider? Well, I have news. She never will. She was not given knowledge. She was not given wisdom nor insight. She is not introspective, and she hates mirrors. She would never consider a mirror, nor consider self-reflection in anything or any problem. Everything must be the fault of someone else, for she is always right. And if she is not right, it was a simple misunderstanding, or she was deceived, and it's not her fault still. It's the fault of the deceiver. So here we go. She will blame white supremacy, but at the same time support a swirling movement and a swirling society, demonizing the black man for dealing outside of his race, but not considering that she may be the reason why he is choosing to do such, being that 72% of black marriages end in divorce initiated by herself, but she doesn't consider. All these things she does not consider leads us to one thing, that she has no validity in anything that is of her opinions. Because her mind is dark, her heart is impure, she has no logic, all she has is emotion and bullshit. Thank you for tuning into this video. Have a good evening.